Hi everyone. I am going to basically show you today a few tips on being able to control the style of your links, and just want to kind of overview a few things before we get started. So by this point most students usually know how to create a link, which in HTML the A tag is basically the anchor tag, and href basically allows you to control the link to the website that you are trying to link your user to. So this is an example of basically linking to Valencia's website. We get some students also that may need to create a link more for visual purposes. Perhaps they don't have a link and they're still working on a project. So if you're in that situation with your project or with an assignment, at any point if you put a pound symbol in your link, you're able to create what's called a null link. So just so that you know what's existing in this code starting out. So I do have some of the code already written for you guys, but I've got it commented out just so that we can kind of go through what happens with links by default versus when we add CSS. So if you look at the example right here, both of these links are showing up, and I've already visited Valencia's website, of course. So if you've visited a web page, it basically by default shows it as purple, and then the default, if you have not visited the link, is going to be like this kind of default blue color. So if a person that has coded a website has not put any CSS, this is kind of what links look like. They're usually pretty generic and default. So usually web designers like to style these so that they go with the style of their website, and there's a lot more that we can do to them. By default, you also notice that there's an underline under each one of the links. So we have the ability to control that as well. So just quickly, I want to just talk about the various link states. So you do have to use these in order. So there's a couple different versions. Obviously, the A stands for the basic link for all states of the link. So if you style just the A, it will allow you to control all styles for all of the links. Web designers usually refer to these as pseudo classes right below. So these bottom four right here are actually pseudo classes. So the first one is for the normal state of the link. The next one is for what the page looks like when it's visited. The third one is for when we hover over a link, what it looks like. And the bottom one is for the active page that you're on. So a lot of the times web designers may style all of these, or they may choose just to style maybe the hover effect. So if you decide you only want to style the hover effect, you would just style the A and the A hover. Okay. Again, there is an order to it. If you style them out of order, you may find that your links actually go back to this default color for one of the states of your link. So just if you're going through coding and you find things aren't working properly, the easiest way to remember it is this order right here, LVHA. And I remember when I first started learning web design, that was in a book that I read, and they basically referred to it as love-hate. So a lot of people, when they're first starting out doing web design, they love and they hate web design. So this is probably the easiest way for you to remember the order. So going back to CodePen, we're just going to basically talk about some of these states so we can uncomment some of this and just talk about it. So here is the A style, and I just quickly styled that as black text, and I removed the text decoration. So if you do not want the underline, you can get rid of it by saying text decoration none. There is an option for an underline as well as an overline. So there are those abilities to control those things. So going through again, you can control these states using a link. I'll just kind of quickly uncomment this. And then we've got visited, and then we've got hover. So you can just basically go into this code and control the styles based off of what you want each one of those to look like. I personally usually in most cases only style the A and the A hover. So in that case, we're just going to control what it looks like when we hover over this link, and it's pink. So we can control the color, we can control the background color. I'll just type in a background color. So when we hover over it, we've got the gray behind it. And of course you can add like padding, and you can add borders and all those various things to the style. So you're able to control what it looks like on the normal state, so it doesn't look like that ugly blue and purple. And then on the hover, you're able to control any of those other styles that you want your links to look like. And then of course we've got visited and active states that you can control. They aren't very consistent sometimes with styling, so a lot of the times I just use A and A hover, but you do have those options for you. So as you're going through working on your assignments and working on your final project, I would encourage you guys to make sure you style all of your links. And just a simple CSS style of the A and the A hover, and controlling the properties and values that you want to change so that they look a lot more like the style of the project that you're working on versus the default links that you may have in a web page. So I hope this helps you guys out, and hopefully we see some interesting styles applied to your links, so that you're able to extend your abilities with HTML and CSS.